Hi, my name is Jenn Jackson. I'm managing editor of Black Youth Project, and I'm sharing a brief quote today that reflects Martin Luther King Jr.'s radical legacy. Whites, it must frankly be said, are not putting in similar mass effort to re-educate themselves out of their racial ignorance. It is an aspect of their sense of superiority that the white population of America believes that they have so little to learn. The reality of substantial investment to assist Negroes into the 20th century, adjusting to Negro neighbors, and genuine school integration is still a nightmare for all too many white Americans. These are the deepest causes for contemporary abrasions between the races. Loose and easy language about equality, resonant resolutions about brotherhood fall pleasantly on the ear. But for the Negro, there is a credibility gap he cannot overlook. He remembers that with each modest advance, the white population promptly raises the argument that the Negro has come far enough. Each step forward accents an ever-present tendency to backlash. This comes from Where Do We Go From Here, written in 1967. And this quote resonates with me because although Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. wrote these words nearly 50 years ago, they discuss precisely the historical moment we're living through right now. We have to think about Van Jones calling the Trump vote a white lash, and I believe that this term would be something that MLK would agree with today. More importantly than this idea of it being a white lash, I think we have to think about something that came back to me after reading a recent piece in the New York Times from Dr. Khalil Gibran Muhammad. It's about Martin Luther King's radical tradition and also how we're in a post-assimilation period. And I think we have to think about this in terms of institutions and no longer about what white people, individual white people, or collectivities of white people are willing to or can abide when it comes to Black Americans, anti-Blackness, racial superiority, and so forth. In particular, I think that we must continue to organize for our communities. We must always possess a critical view of the state and state-based power and repression, since it's always based in imperialism and patriarchy, which we know is inherently anti-Black. And we must always remember that we can't be free until all of us are free. And although it wasn't a period where we talked about gender, class, and sex equity in the same language, we can think about the ways that today, even more than any moment in our history, we have to always center those who are the least among us, those who are most marginalized among us. And that, to me, is what's core and most important about MLK's radical legacy.